Good, bad, it's all a matter of viewpoint or quite subjective. What some people may consider good, other people may consider bad. But then there are times when we do come together. In Doctor Who, with each series, there's usually at least one episode of each series that people can consider either weaker than the rest or just plain bad. But that's not to say even the bad episodes of Doctor Who don't have something good about them. So today I thought I'd go through each series, pick out what I think is either the worst or the weakest episode, and state at least one thing that I like about it, or one thing that may have changed over time. Ready? Off we go. 2005, Series 1, the weakest episode I would say out of all of them is probably episode 11, Boomtown. The Doctor, Captain Jack Harkness, Rose Tyler and Mickey Smith meet up, and they encounter Margaret Blaine, the last surviving member of the Slitheen, who they previously faced in Aliens of London and World War III. Now, Aliens of London and World War III is my guilty pleasure episode from Series 1. It's one that I personally enjoy because that's the point when I jumped on board Doctor Who. Boomtown, I admit, isn't the greatest follow-up, but it does have a bit of a fun premise, with the Doctor and Margaret seemingly trying to have a nice dinner together just before he has to send her back to Rex Falcipatorius, and her trying to double-cross and kill him any chance she gets. I admit the ultimate threat they have to face in the end, not particularly good, but you know what, the restaurant scenes are funny enough, and it does try. Series 2, and the first one that I think many people regard as bad, Love and Monsters. This one is infamous for how bad it is, but then I also think it's not as bad as people say. It was the first episode to try something that Doctor Who would later become very good at. The light episodes, either Doctor Light or Companion Light. Either the Doctor or his companion would be used for a few key scenes. And this was the first episode to try it out, and people don't consider it bad. The episode focusing on a man named Elton, and a friendship and even love interest that he grows with a group of people who happen to have knowledge and experience of the Doctor. And I admit, the chemistry that all the group have, it is likeable. I mean, the monster they eventually gave Peter Kay as the Absorbable off, apparently it was based off a child's drawing that was done for a TV show competition, which, you know what, good for them. I mean, it's not the best way to do it, but, you know what, the chemistry the group have, that's, I think, the plus side of the episode, is they do have legitimate camaraderie. Series 3, Daleks in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks. This one's tricky because I think out of the three of them, I think this is the weak point of the Cult of Skaro trilogy. That being Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, Evolution of the Daleks, two-parter, and The Stolen Earth and Journey's End. This is, I think, the weakest of the Cult of Skaro trilogy. But once again, they do have, I mean, the setup is sounds pretty good. I mean, Daleks in 1930s New York, trying to take over the construction of the Eiffel Tower, and ultimately trying to build a human Dalek crossover. That sounds like it could be pretty good. It's not necessarily executed the best, but you know what? It's got a solid premise, and hey, if you don't like that, it's got Andrew Garfield in there, who would later become Spider-Man. Can't knock it for that. Series 4, weakest one, probably Partners in Crime. And I'm only saying that because I don't really think there's a weak episode in Series 4. I mean, each episode I feel is a masterpiece in its own right in Series 4. If I have to really pick one, I would really say Partners in Crime. Mainly because, I don't know, maybe it was just the start. I mean, it's got a pretty weak, probably it's got the weakest villain with Miss Foster and the Adipose, but other than that, nothing really more to say. I still feel it's a good episode and one that I love rewatching. I mean, who doesn't remember the mime conversation between the Doctor and Donna across an office? It's still funny, even to this day. From the specials, the weakest one is probably Planet of the Dead, because you got stingrays and flies, but once again, the characters do have a legitimate camaraderie among each other. I mean, while it's not, well, no, but they all have just moments with each other just to talk about how they're feeling, and you do really feel for each of them. The people who just want to get home, the people who just want to go and see their mates or have dinner with their loved one. Yeah, you do understand where each of them is coming from, and you do legitimately want to see them all get home. Also, David Tennant and Michelle Ryan in this episode do have a legitimate kind of they do have good chemistry together. So I'd say Planet of the Dead is the weakest of the specials, but that doesn't mean it's a bad episode by any means. Right, Series 5 and Series 6. The Lodger and Closing Time. Now, when you're talking about best episodes of Series 5 and Series 6, people will usually go for Vincent and the Doctor and the Doctor's Wife. And while I admit those are good episodes, my personal favourite, my guilty pleasures, are The Lodger and Closing Time, even though many people consider them rather weak. I mean, I personally love Craig. I mean, Craig, I feel, is a legitimately funny guy. He's kind of relatable, and he's just going through a tough time, and the Doctor isn't exactly making things easier. But you know what? He's relatable. He's funny, and I admit I do have a kind of fondness for Cyberman episodes, and Closing Time I feel is a pretty good one. So yeah, it might be the weakest of Series 5 and 6, but the James Corden two-parter, I love it. Series 7 Part 1. The weakest one I would say for that is Episode 4, The Power of Three. Now, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship is my kind of guilty pleasure episode for the first part of Series 7. However, I admit The Power of Three isn't the best follow-up, although I will admit the ending with Mark Williams saying goodbye to the three of them, that's nice and touching. I don't feel that Shakri are particularly good villains, but there you go, that's just me. But yeah, I do. But looking on the good side of things, it is nice to see how Amy and Rory's life progresses, even when they're not travelling with the Doctor, and the major difference that it has when they do. So yeah, it's nice to see their passion for each other and just their everyday life. For Series 7 Part 2, I don't know which one necessarily is the weakest, but I personally go for Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS. Mainly because I feel it's a bit overly complicated and just goes in areas where it's a little tricky to follow. But overall, it is kind of nice to see the kind of inside of the TARDIS and just seeing how big the TARDIS truly is. But I admit it's not the best story, but you know what? It is nice to see the kind of how big the TARDIS could really be. Series 8, In the Forest of the Night. This is one I personally like. I like this one a lot, but I know a lot of people don't really like it that much, probably because of child actors and also for its message about saying that medication isn't necessary, which, okay, I can kind of see where people are coming from with that, but then again, I don't think the kids' acting is that bad. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking, but you know what, they do make things fun, and I do feel the ending is also rather beautiful. I know its message isn't quite agreeable with everyone, but you know what, I actually like this episode. I may not think the message is the best, but you know what, I think it's still rather nice and beautiful. Series 9, Sleep No More. This was one I didn't get first time. I'd heard about it, I'd read about it online, what it was going to do. It finally aired, and I was just thinking, yeah, no, this didn't work. But then I saw it a second time, and I was like, okay, I think I get what it was going for now. I mean, Doctor Who does Paranormal Activity. May not be the best area for Doctor Who to go into, but after a second view round, I understood more what it was trying to do, and yeah, it tried. It really tried. Whether it succeeded, yeah, that's up to you. But just to rattle off the last two, for Series 10, I'd probably say the weakest was the Eaters of Light. But then again, it is nice to delve into another kind of real history mystery and see Doctor Who's take on it. That being the mystery of the missing Ninth Legion. Which, okay, it's nice to see Doctor Who take on another of history's mysteries. So that's my good point for the Eaters of Light. And for Series 11, I would say the Saranga Conundrum, and to be honest, I would say I have the same thoughts about the Saranga Conundrum as I had about Sleep No More. First time I saw it, I didn't really get what it was trying to do. But then when I watched it through a second time, I was like, okay, I can see what you're trying to do there. Yeah, this could work. And after multiple viewings, I did like it a lot more. I just, yeah, I just kind of felt maybe it wasn't the best area for Doctor Who to go into. But then again, I've been proved wrong. So there you go. One positive thing about each series of Doctor Who's weakest episode. But then again, I'd love to hear what you consider the weakest episode down below, or which one you think is over other people don't like that you do. You know what? Keep a lively discussion. Anyway, until next time, see ya.